Hey, Shalom, it's your brother Yonathan. All right, first and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Most High, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rekha HaKodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I want to say Shalom to all the brothers and, of course, the few sisters pursuing this truth and sincerity. All right, may the blessing of election be upon your house. Today, we're going to pick up where we left off with yesterday's lesson. So this will be part 2, going into what modern-day idol worship looks like in practice. Okay, so many people are devoted to a lot of things of the world, right? When I say devoted, they're loyal to it. All right, they made a solemn vow to persistently be about something that has nothing to do with righteousness. Okay, we used social media yesterday as an example. For some people, social media gives them a sense of belonging. All right, for some people, they feel significant. They try to control their image to look like someone important, visibility, right? They're in that let us make a name for ourselves spirit. Okay, so that they're constantly on social media, whether they're posting or scrolling. It's a daily ritual. It's a daily sacrifice. And then the people that you're looking at online, you know, they purport this life that they're really not living. And everybody becomes dissatisfied with their life. Everybody becomes dissatisfied with the simplicity of life, especially the simplicity in Yahushai. All right, the lifestyle you're going to have following after Yahushai is going to be one, you know, oftentimes of mundaneness. It's going to be one of routine. Okay, because you're going to be giving your time to the Lord. You're going to be giving time to reading. If you're a brother, you're going to be giving time to making lessons. You're going to be giving time to, you know, helping out the congregation in whatever ways you can, you know, for whatever situation you're in. And that's going to vary from brother to brother. It's not always going to be glamorous or exciting or even feel good. It's not about feeling good on this side. Our reward is on the back end, as the Lord told us, as he told the disciples. You should sit on 12. In the regeneration, you should sit on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. All right? So instead of sacrificing your time, attention to Yahweh Shem Yahushai, people are sacrificing it to these platforms, these things, these spaces or environments that have been created by the man of sin, so to speak. Let's go to Ephesians 5:15. Let's pull that up really quick. This is Ephesians, the 5th chapter. We'll get right to it. Start at the 14th verse. This is Ephesians 5:14, the KJV. It reads, "Wherefore he saith, Awake thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead." Our people are spiritually dead in a spiritually disconnected state. "And the Mashiach shall give thee light. See then that ye walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as the wise." Now, when we read that verse 15 in the NLT, it says, "So be careful how you live. Don't live like fools, but like those who are wise." Meaning you're going to be paying attention to the signs of the times. You're going to be giving your time and your energy into building up the spiritual man so that you could weather the storm that's on the horizon. The storm that's been commissioned by our Lord. Majority of people, this grace period that we've had, they haven't used it wisely. They haven't used it to build up the spiritual man. So in turn, when they're tested, they're not going to be able to stand up against the wiles of the devil. They're going to actually join league with him in the hopes that they can continue to gratify their flesh. And our whole walk is about separating from the flesh, is it not? I believe in Galatians kind of expounds on that. Let's go get that really quick. All right, so Galatians 5, and I'll start at verse 16. It says, "This I say then, walk in the Spirit, and ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh. For the flesh lusteth against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh." Is this that that inner fight, that inner conflict that you go through every day. The spirit wants to please and seek after Yahweh Shem Yahushua, no fin less. But that flesh, man, it just wants to feel good. And feeling good in this world, often the time, is going to align with offending the Lord. Okay? Galatians 5:17 once more. For the flesh lusteth against the spirit, and the spirit against the flesh. And these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would. There it is. I want to read that also again in the NLT, Galatians 5:17, in the NLT. It says, the sinful nature wants to do evil, which is just the opposite of what the spirit wants. And the spirit gives us desires that are opposite of what the sinful nature desires. These two forces are constantly fighting each other. So you are not free to carry out your good intentions. It's always a struggle. It's always a pulling of both ways. But you got to be feeding the spirit so that the spiritual man wins that fight at the end. So we always talk about your daily sacrifice, man. And that includes what you give your time to, your attention. People's mental health is all screwed up because they're giving their time and attention to things that are detrimental to that spiritual man. Okay? They think if they don't do these things, that they're not bound at the hip to the world, that they're going to miss out on something. That FOMO, the fear of missing out. They'll be X'd out by their friends in the world. They're afraid of, severing those attachments. And I'm not saying you just go sever every attachment that you have because you know this truth. But when you start walking and living a particular way, by default, there are going to be certain people that, remove themselves. The blessings most people have in mind are blessings that make them of high esteem to worldly people. High esteem within this infrastructure. The riches that we seek are in the kingdom of heaven. They're in the world to come. Okay? All right? Some people, they worship sex. Pornography. Okay? And that becomes an idol to them. They might lack intimacy in their life because the relationships between the man and the woman is all fucked up here. Okay? Some people, it's an escape from their situation, whatever that may be. All right? There's many things that have become idols unto people. And the culture, especially here in the West, promotes that. Okay? There was no recreational dating in the ancient world. There wasn't recreational sex that was promoted to you, especially to our women in the ancient world. It wasn't a hookup culture. At least within the confines of how our government was commissioned to be set up, under the umbrella of the statues of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. Of course, there's always been degeneracy going on everywhere. Right, but within our sovereignty, that wasn't something that was promoted. When you do that, you're sacrificing your integrity, man. You gotta sneak to do it. It's a shameful thing, Some men, they might want variety, and they can't. They're in a situation where that's frowned upon for a man to have variety here. So they result to that, but you got to pray to the Lord, give you the strength to remove that spirit off of you, man, and put you in the mind frame to just give your time to something else that's more productive. This is 1 Thessalonians 4:3 in the NLT. It says, God's will is for you to be holy, separate, right? Something that's promoted in this world, it's not something you want to be a part of. The small hats promote the porn industry. It says God's will for you to be holy is for you to be holy. So stay away from all sexual sin. Okay, you pretty much you're jacking off to another man's success, to another man's experiences. That isn't real. Those people are acting. It's not real intimacy. That's not a real connection there. You know. Verse 4. Then each of you will control his own body. You want to rule over your flesh, not have the flesh rule over you. And live in holiness and honor. It's not an honorable thing, man. We want to be blameless. People should really have nothing to really say about us. They're gonna find shit. They're gonna mix a lot of shit up too. But we gotta try to abstain from giving them a reason to have anything to say about us. Okay? It says, verse 5, not in a lustful passion like the pagans who do not know God in his ways. See? Also, a lot of people are a slave to money. For the common person, right? They may be a slave to their job. Yeah, you gotta work, man. Don't work, you don't eat. But some people, you're overly invested in the job to where you're not giving the Lord his time. Okay, you think by you being overly invested in that job, you're gonna have to, you're gonna be putting your faith in the security that you seek in that job. You're putting your worth, your value in that job. There's no legacy you're going to establish in anything here on this side, because the scriptures say this place is going to pass away. So you're sacrificing the time you're supposed to be giving the Lord, again, to this man. Okay? There's no joy that's going to come from, there's no lasting true joy that's going to come from that. The status that you may gain through your job is going to be fleeting. Again, everything here is going to be demolished. The identity you're supposed to be clinging unto is being a man or woman of the Lord. Okay? Again, building your riches in the kingdom of heaven, Matthew 6 and 19. So, that was just the end part of yesterday's lesson. Okay? About what modern day idol worship looks like, man. A lot of people, they don't really see them. They don't see themselves as idol worshipers. But in truth, many people are, especially many of our people, especially about when it comes to that bag. But I want to give our praises once more to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, Bahashim, Rekha HaKodash. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. I want to say shalom to all the brothers, and of course, the few sisters pursuing this truth in sincerity. May the blessing of election be upon your house. Shalom.